How do you break down Stanford and Hawaii? Interesting game here to start us off.
All right. Good morning. And Stanford and Hawaii. This jumped right off the board at me when I saw the opening line. Actually, Stanford opened a couple months back as a short favorite, and now we're looking at Hawaii at either -2 or -2.5, which should be alarming to people because you're looking at a Hawaii team that hasn't had a heck of a lot of success under Timmy Chang. And Stanford, on the other hand, comes from a Power Four conference, but they're not a very good team. As a matter of fact, the consensus shows Stanford as a consensus pick to finish last in the ACC, and there's 17 teams in the ACC, by the way. The Cardinal are coming off 4 consecutive seasons in which they finished an identical 3-9. Over those 4 seasons, they're just 10-35 against FBS teams. They fired Troy Taylor, who was there for 2 years, wasn't able to get the program headed in the right direction. And they hire Frank Reich. Very interesting, Andy. They hire him on an interim basis. I'm not sure what that's all about. Maybe some of you Stanford alum that are watching this might bring us up to speed on that. I think it's highly unusual to bring in a coach of Reich's quality and experience and make him an interim coach. Anyway, that doesn't bode well for the future in terms of, well, how long is this guy going to be around? Anyway, Hawaii, 4th year with Timmy Chang. He's coming off a 5-7 season with Hawaii last year. But, 3 of those losses of the 7 came by 3 points or fewer against UCLA, San Diego State, and a real impressive effort against a UNLV team that was 1 win away from being a serious contender to make the college football playoffs. They lost that game 29-27. They did lead UCLA at the half, 10-0 at home, and then ended up losing the game 16-13. Both lost. They lost to Boise in the MWC title game, meaning UNLV. So you could see the quality of opponent and how tough they played them last year. And why I mention all that is because this is an experienced Hawaii team. They didn't do much in the transfer portal, if anything at all, but they didn't lose players in the transfer portal either. So there's a lot of continuity coming back for Hawaii to go along with that experience. We're not bringing in juniors or seniors from a transfer portal. They have to learn a whole new system. And I think that's going to pay dividends in an early season matchup against a team like Stanford, who lost 20 players to the transfer portal, including 2 of their quarterbacks and their best linemen on both sides of the ball. So I don't like laying 2 or 2.5. I think you know that, Andy. We can get Hawaii on the money line at -130. I think Hawaii gets off to a good start right here. And like I said, I think the experience and continuity, not only with the roster, but the coaching staff as well, will pay dividends in an opening game against a bottom feeder in the ACC, the Stanford Cardinal.
We talked with Jesse about continuity. It sounds like you're paying attention to that as well. You kind of fading the Stanford team that doesn't have a whole lot of continuity. You're right, interim coach sounds really,
I don't get
bizarre.
that. Do you, Andy?
No, I haven't heard of that. I haven't seen that. It's just like, well, we have a guy we like, but he's not available. So could you come in and just be this stopgap? It doesn't inspire a lot of confidence.
I see it in all the preview articles, and he's got the interim tag on him. Now, whether they took that off him, that's another story. I don't know, but I just found that awfully strange to make a new hire and just put an interim tag on him. It's not like he took over at the end of last year. So anyway, speaks to the condition of the Stanford program, in my opinion.
We did have a question there in the chat about, like, everyone seems to be on Hawaii. Do you pay attention to that? Like, when in the narrative,
I do. I do. I don't. It depends on the source you're looking at. My source that I trust is seeing a little money more on Hawaii than Stanford, but not enough for me to say, hey, I don't want to back this public side. There's a reason why they went from 2.5, a 2-point underdog to a 2.5 point favorite. again, especially early in the season, I don't put a lot of stock in that, but it's something I do pay attention to when you see a reverse line movement. And I guess some sources can show this as a reverse line movement. I'm just not buying it. $5.99 for my entire college football season. It starts on Saturday. I was number one last year in college football, number one in units earned over the last 2 seasons. So why should they buy that for me, Andy? I think I gave you some good reasons.
Ross, I don't know. Why should we get your year-long college football special?
Well, I'm glad that you asked, Andy. It's always a pleasure to answer that question from you. In any event, like I said, $5.99. If you break it down to the amount of weeks in college football through the bowl season, through the national championship game, and you'll see that it's a very affordable package considering the results. Last year, I finished on a 60-35 run in college football, which is 63%. Like I said, the last 2 years, when you combine the units earned, number one at Wager Talk over the last 2 college football seasons, I'm prepared and ready to go. And Andy, if I could just a shameless plug here, I did a college football betting preview show at the Westgate Sportsbook last week with Teddy Covers. You can get that at my personal link at Wager Talk TV, and that's wt.buzz/Ross TV, wt.buzz/Ross TV.